Hey guys, it is course selection season here again at Duke, and so I thought I would make a video tier ranking all of the classes that I have taken here. By the way, I'm just a freshman, so I have not taken that many classes, but I thought it would be a good idea to rank all of the classes and give you guys some explanations and recommendations for whether or not, well, I would recommend a certain class that I've taken. And I would try to be, I know that I'm like, of course, going to be very biased because it's all like my personal opinion, but I'm going to try to give as much objective evidence as possible. And also, I'm going to try to make it as little about the professor as possible because I know that each class is taught by a different professor each semester, and if you wanted to check the professor's ratings, you can easily just go on to rate my professor. So I'm going to try to be objective about the class and not talk about the professor, but I'm going to talk about some of the classes that I've taken here. So, okay, here we go, onto the tier list ranking. Let's get into it. First, we have the Knowledge in the Service of Society focus. A focus is so in your first year at Duke, you either have to take a focus or a constellation. Is basically you choose this topic, this theme that you take 2 classes on in a 0.5 sort of discussion, or I forgot what it was called, but it's kind of like a dinner that you have to do each week with the focus. And yeah, so it's 2 classes on that theme. And Knowledge in the Service of Society is exactly what it sounds like. It's basically just classes about ways that we can improve society, and a lot of it is related to education. So I thought that was a very good idea because I'm quite interested in studying education. The theme is actually quite interesting, but it wasn't anything super mind-blowing, and I don't think that I learned like a ton from it. And also, I feel like the classes are all pretty easy A's, and the focus as a theme is, although it's interesting, it's not something that I would expect out of a college class necessarily because it's just like nothing super new. I feel like studying sort of education or things like this, it is kind of vague, if you know what I'm talking about, and doesn't have anything like super substantial that you're like improving your skills on or like developing a certain super crucial ability that you would expect. So I mean, these rankings and these explanations are all very vague, but I would give this about a B tier, I would say. These images are also cut off, but I don't know what to do about that. So the 2 classes in this are thinking about education. Wait, no, rethinking education through the lens of social justice, which, because we weren't able to do the service learning component, I feel like that was like for lots of different reasons, which was not the fault of anybody in particular, but because of lots of different reasons, we weren't able to do the service learning component, which was going to a local school and volunteering there. I feel like that deducted a lot from the experience, so I'm gonna have to give that a C. But it wasn't, I'm not like blaming anyone or anything, just because that was a big component of the class, and it just ended up being like a lot of different readings and discussions, which were again interesting, but I feel like were things that I could have done on my own. And then we have the documentary studies class. Basically, we went into a local school. It was a Montessori school, and we photographed them for the entire semester. That was very fun, though I'm kind of introverted, so I feel like it was a little bit outside of my comfort zone, but I would say that was a really good experience, and I definitely learned a lot about photography and how to use a camera, which are skills that really benefit me. Like, after taking that class, I went back home in Turkey for winter break, and my parents, we went out traveling, and I was taking photos with my parents, and they were like, oh my gosh, when did you learn to like photograph so well? It was because of that class. So it was, I think this was very useful, and I'm very glad that I took a photography class, even though it's not related to anything that I'm studying. So I'm giving it an A. Like, I really did learn a lot from that class. Then we had, okay, so this is multivariable calculus for maths majors and math 222. This is not the order in which I've written these classes down, but okay, we have multivariable calculus for maths majors. This, it is, okay, completely unrelated to the professor or to like any subjective element. I would give the course content of this class a D, because I find multivariable calculus just in and of itself very uninteresting, but that's a personal opinion. Like, think about this. You take everything you've done in Calc 2 or high school calculus and do it with more variables, with more annoying computation, and more room to make computational mistakes. That is basically what multivariable calculus is. So if you know me at all, you know that I do not enjoy it at all. In fact, I'm very annoyed by that class right now because I really need to get a better grade. But I studied really hard for the last exam, and I thought I did really good, but it was still not good, and I just find the material very uninteresting. I find all other aspects of the class pretty good, but just as like a class, like the material and the content, I just feel like it is quite unnecessary, except for a few sections like the epsilon delta proofs, and there was, yeah, the epsilon delta proofs I quite enjoyed. The other things were just like pure computation, and I really did not enjoy those. So I know that if you're doing a maths major, this is a requirement, and Maths 219 is a requirement if you're doing engineering. So it is pretty hard to skip, but I would, I don't know, like I would maybe like study ahead for this class so that you wouldn't have to study as much during the class period. And yeah, but I just personally find the material very uninteresting, even though I actually love my professor for this class. But yeah, I just have to say that because I feel like even though I do not give any judgment on the quality of the professor for any of my other classes, I feel like it's very important to distinguish that to not be misunderstood. But just the material is, I find it very uninteresting. Okay, next I have Linguistics 201, Introduction to Linguistics. This class, oh, I've debated so much on whether I wanted to switch to this class or keep my English class because I always thought I was going to major in maths and English, but now I'm thinking maths and linguistics, and yeah, okay. So this class, I'm gonna give it an A tier because I feel like the course content is quite interesting. We basically cover a little bit from all the aspects of linguistics, such as phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax. Now we're doing historical linguistics and sociolinguistics. So you basically just learn a little bit about the discipline, and I find linguistics itself very, very interesting. Yeah, so it's a pretty good class, but my favorite part is definitely the phonetics and phonology because I'm super interested about how pronunciation works and how, especially how that works while you're learning foreign language. I really recommend taking this if you're taking a foreign language in that semester because so much of the content just makes a lot of sense when you're learning a new language, and also learning about how the grammar in different languages works. So that's also really cool. Even though I'm quite bad at syntax, I actually kind of enjoy it. Yeah, that is linguistics. Yeah. So as a class, just in terms of the content, I would definitely give it an A. Then we have Writing 128, Radical Magic. This one, I would also put it at an A tier, even though I procrastinate a lot for this class, and honestly, it's like a pretty chill class, so I feel like I'm not putting enough effort into it, but it's genuinely like so interesting. You learn a lot about the history of magic and witches, you write a literature review, you do a archival research project, and for your final project, you get to make a grimoire, which is like a spell book. And I just bought my journal that I'm going to use for my grimoire, which is right here. Oops, all my stuff, all my German homework is falling down. And I cannot have that. Okay, to remember to hand this in. Brief interlude. I'll get to German very soon, but yes, look, I just got this beautiful journal to work on because this is going to be my grimoire, my spell book, and it has this little clasp. It's so cool. Oh my gosh, I really love this class. We learn how to read tarot cards, we learn how to make a grimoire, we learn bookbinding. It is just such a cool class, and I definitely love it. So I should be working harder for it. And for a literature review, we could pick a topic, whatever topic that we're interested in that's related to magic and witchcraft. So the topic that I chose was the interpretation of witchcraft and magic in early modern Germany and its fairy tales. How interesting is that, right? Like, German fairy tales are always something that I've been super interested in because they're so scary, but I feel like there's always some kind of really cool story behind it, so love that. And then we have the art of reading, English 101, Introduction to Narrative. So this class, I see a lot of people potentially finding it very interesting. However, I was not one of them. So this class, first of all, I feel like it's kind of an easy A. Like, there isn't as much reading. All the reading is very contemporary. Yeah, also you don't do so much writing, so there is only one essay writing assignment, and the other assignment is like a group project where you make like a YouTube video together, analyzing one of the texts. Actually, no, not a text that you've done in class, but just one that you choose on your own. We do a lot of like stuff about social media narratives and TV shows. If you find that kind of stuff interesting, also if you find AI interesting, it is definitely very cool. Like, it's definitely more focused on more modern forms of narrative rather than more historical or more classical English literature texts, which was more what I was personally looking for. Even though I found the course content quite interesting, I just feel like the focus is not really up my alley. But I feel like in terms of the course itself, definitely a lot of people could find it interesting if you're really interested in contemporary texts, if you're interested in social media theories, and like social media narrative theory, and if you're interested in AI and how technology plays into our understanding of narrative. So personally, I would give this a B. Then we have Maths 221, Linear Algebra for Maths Majors. S tier. Immediately S tier. I would not say this is my favorite class I've had at Duke, but it is pretty dang close. Like, I just love this. This class made me fall in love with the maths major and made me really committed on studying maths, even though I'm currently not super interested in multivariable calculus. But this was my first class here at Duke, and it is just so damn interesting. You see every single concept being connected together like a whole web, You learn so much about proofs, and every single concept is so interesting yet understandable. Like, yeah, there's some things where like once you get it, you're just like, this is so cool, like change of basis. I just feel like being able to prove something feels so satisfying. Also, if you like this cross connection of thinking between geometry and algebra, you'll definitely really enjoy linear algebra. Even though I didn't really enjoy studying vectors and matrices in high school in the IB, I really enjoyed IB maths, but just not vectors and matrices. Linear algebra, like once I truly understood them, made me change my mind completely. So course content, super cool, and yeah, 221 is just a goated class, okay? And then we have German 101. Immediate S tier as well. Best class I've had at Duke. Like literally the best class I've had at Duke. You want to learn a new language, like if you already speak English, take German 101. You will be fluent in German in 3 freaking months. Like actually. Like you will be fluent in German in 3 freaking months. This class is just amazing. It is, I don't know what to tell you. Every single thing you could want in a class, you can get in German 101. You make progress super fast. The class is super interactive, so it's even if you had the class at 8:30, which it is usually not, but even if you had the class at 8:30, you will definitely not fall asleep because you're always like standing up, talking to people, like learning how to order food, learning how to check into a hotel, learning about the German culture, learning how to make small talk, learning just stuff that is super useful. Also, German grammar is just goated, okay? Like, if I had to pick a grammar system that I like the most in the world, it would be German grammar. Absolutely amazing. Also, if you guys have watched any of my German vlogs on my channel, yes, I started German 101 this semester. I've been learning German for barely 3 months, and yeah, I'm not gonna say that I'm fluent in German or anything like that, but it definitely gives you this class gives you such a good understanding of the language and such a good ability to use language like pretty dang fast. Yeah, also just the way that the professor, okay, I'm not gonna talk about the professor, but like honestly the professor is like half the reason why I love this class so much. Yeah, if you're watching this video to look at the classes that you're gonna take next semester, you can DM me or something, and depending on whether I know you or not, I might give you the professor recommendations. But even like whether like even independent from the professor, this class is just amazing. It's designed in a way that really scientifically like uses all the cognitive science methods that make you learn a language like the fastest, gives you really good pronunciation techniques so that your pronunciation doesn't fall fossilize in a wrong way. And like because once you learn a certain pronunciation, it's kind of hard to change, right? So it's very important to learn the right pronunciation at the beginning, and this class definitely puts a lot of focus on that, as well as doing things just in an interactive way, so you're not just learning grammar from the textbook. Well, you do that too, but what you're doing more is actually practicing speaking in real life, so you will actually be able to speak German. And this is just super cool. If I had to recommend one single class, it would be this one. Like, best class ever, okay? Now, lastly, I have got Dance 210. Have I missed a class from the semester? No, I think that's all, right? This, I don't know where this came from, sorry. Yeah, last class I'm going to rate is Dance 210. It is intermediate ballet. I forgot the number. I don't know if this number's right, but intermediate ballet. I'm gonna give this, so I'm gonna explain it first. I really like this class. I've been doing ballet like pretty much my whole life, but just on and off and not really seriously. So I can do some ballet, but I'm definitely not good at it. And I really love this class. First of all, it's super fun. Second of all, it's always a good workout. Third of all, you improve your ballet technique a lot. And each class is really different. The professor gives you different combinations each class, and it's just like any standard ballet class, but it always feels really good. And the center combinations always look really beautiful, so I really love that. But yeah, so I would give this class an A tier. Definitely learned a lot from it. It is graded though, so you have to submit like 3 reflections and also go watch 2 ballet performances. But I feel like that's helpful, though, like just a little bit of work, and it's a 0.5 credit class. But yeah, just in terms of being able to take a dance class at university, even if you're studying nothing related to it, I feel like is a super cool experience. And if you have the opportunity, definitely do it. So definitely a very good class. So these are all the classes that I have taken at Duke. Let me know what you think, and if you found this helpful, and if I should do this again after my next semester or after my next 2 semesters. I'm sorry that the classes are a little bit cut off, but I've set the name of the classes and we'll probably put them on the screen so that you're able to find them on Duke Hub. And I let me know if you guys want more content in English or in German. But yeah, maybe this time next year I'll do this class reading in German. Since I know that a lot of you guys don't speak German probably, so I was like maybe doing this in English will help a lot of people. But yeah, I would really love to do more videos and vlogs and just content in German because I really enjoy doing that. So maybe I'll discuss German sometime soon. But if there was any particular class that you enjoyed taking at Duke, then be sure to leave a comment down below and tell everybody about that class. I would also love some course recommendations for next semester, even though I already have an idea of what I want to take, but I'm not super sure yet, and I can always change that. So if you guys have a class that you would really recommend, then be sure to leave that down below. That would be very helpful for everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye!